Good morning, everyone, on this early Friday morning. Hopefully, you're off to a good start. Boy, it feels a lot different out there, breezy and colder. And we do have some flurries, valley sprinkles, and mountain snow showers out around the plateau. Even some light accumulations already starting to build. So that will be the trend today, as we do have winter weather advisories for some of the higher elevations, including the plateau and parts of East Tennessee and the Smokies above 2,000 feet. That's going to be where we'll see probably some of the accumulations, maybe up to 2 inches in some of the areas in the plateau, especially around Fall Creek Falls. And here in our local mountains, maybe up to a half an inch, 3/4 to an inch in some areas. So today, elevation definitely making a difference. So we've turned the page, and yesterday it was springtime, but today it is wintertime. And probably one of the questions a lot of folks are asking me is that why are we seeing so many of these storms in the month of January? And the reason why is that temperatures have been well above normal. So we've almost skipped and got into a spring like weather pattern. When you have a spring like weather pattern, you do have these stormy type systems that move through the south. And that's why we've had 2 or 3 episodes. Unfortunately, we had some damage across Meigs County and parts of North Georgia, but nothing like what they had in the parts of Alabama around Selma, where they had those fatalities and they had the real serious weather. But today, definitely a different story, as high temperatures will be maybe near 40 for some of the valley areas and staying into the lower 30s. That's why this evening I think there's going to be some tricky travel, especially once the sun goes down, even though we're going to be cloudy with those scattered snow showers. So we'll get right into it, take a look at some of the graphics, and this is what you can expect as we move into your afternoon. And there you see the streamers of snow continuing to move in from the north and west, tapering off later tonight. But they kind of conform into the mountains. Notice the plateau and the eastern Tennessee mountains, the Smokies back in the western Carolinas. You can almost see them kind of forming. And basically what's happening is that the mountains are wringing out what's left of the atmosphere when it comes to moisture, and it's cold, so it's wringing out in the form of snow showers. The valleys don't see nearly as much because the mountains take most of that, and as they downslope, they dry out. So the valleys will see a few sprinkles and some scattered snow flurries, but the mountains will probably comb and get most of the activity, and that's why they'll see some accumulation up there, as that will continue for a good 12 to 14 hour period. And then even this evening and tonight, there'll be some scattered snow showers around. Then they'll taper off late tonight. Tomorrow, a different story with more sunshine returning, and temperatures still will be on the chilly side, but the sun will return for a good part of the weekend. And there you can see basically what you expect through Sunday, as will be dry, but quickly weather systems push on in again for next week. So unsettled weather returns for another 5 to 6 day period, and then we're going to see that pattern change. But Monday night into Tuesday, there you see the first one, and then the second one moving on in as we head into Thursday. Once again, could see a significant rainfall event with that, may even have a few thunderstorms, and then finally some of that colder air starts to ooze down to the south. And when that happens, that shuts off that spring-like pattern. So we have this for about 5 more days, with the exception of today and tomorrow night, where temperatures will be much chillier and it's going to feel like winter. But still, we'll have a couple of more wet weather systems before we start to get maybe a little bit more consistently cold as we head into the second half and the end of January. So that's something that we're still looking at. But in the short term, some fluffy flurries around today, and you folks into the mountains probably having at least enough to track a rabbit, maybe up to 2 inches in a few spots, as then we'll start to settle down for the upcoming weekend. But be safe, stay dry, have a great rest of your Friday, and we'll talk to you later.